So here we have liftoff. There we've got Charlie. She who shall henceforth be known as the one who wears pink gumboots in the middle of summer. We're going to take you on a little walkabout on the farm. This is still very early days. The farm is still very rough. You'll see there in the middle of the screen, you'll notice there is a pathway that leads off into the wild yonder over there. Here's the pathway. It took us a couple of days of doing this work, of opening this path, because we started off with axes and saws and stuff like that, but eventually it just doesn't work. You keep on blunting the axes against stones on the ground. So we ended up just pretty much just jerking out all the bushes, and fortunately they're quite easy to break, these rhino bushes, so we would just go and break off the stems. There's the pathway meandering up further on. Here on the right hand side you'll see there's an open spot, and which the camera then for some reason ignored, but that's where we're going to put all the soft fruit later on. I already went and I planted a bunch of nectarine and peach seeds there. What you see there is a lot of rhino bush. We're going to leave about a third of the farm covered in the natural stuff that we find here. We're going to replace some of them with other indigenous fynbos, for example with rooibos tea, for the simple reason it's a commodity that we can actually use. It's indigenous and it's a nitrogen fixer. You see those little heaps of stones? Those are my olive trees. This is the first little olive patch that I planted up on the farm. It's entirely stone mulched. You can't really see it on this video because it's a little bit far away, but all of these trees are still alive. There's 16 of them. We've drawn a couple of lines there that you can see. Those are swales there in the ground, but they haven't really been dug out yet. We've just marked them out. Part of the reason is that the soil is so hard that it's really it's almost like slave labor if you hire anyone to come and work here, unless if you have any heavy power equipment to do the job for you. Alright, you'll see there in the middle of the screen now there's another pathway. We're going to follow that one now. Now in nature, paths like these would be opened up by elephants. They would break open the initial path, and then other animals, horses, etc., would then later on follow. I don't know if you guys just noticed there was some pheasant or some bird that ran away. It was on the ground, ran away like crazy. There's another one, ran away like crazy because it thought that it was a falcon or a hawk or something that's going to come and catch it when it saw the drone. And you'll notice now in just a couple of seconds, there you see the other one running. In just a couple of seconds, as the drone goes closer, they suddenly decide they've had enough of this. Screw this, we're flying away, trying desperately to escape from this obviously dangerous predator that's hanging around here. Through these two trees here, I like to joke about it as the citrus portal. If you go past them, you'll find on the other side, and the camera is going to zoom in just now, we planted 8 citrus trees. So that's the second little fruit patch. We're not going to be doing a monoculture, planting the trees in lines, because it just doesn't feel right. We are, however, going to plant them in clusters like this, so they can have their own little underground village, if we could call it that, with a mycelium that will in time develop here. They will be surrounded by a lot of biodiversity, because we're going to be leaving a lot of, as I said, at least 1/3 of the farm, absolute minimum of 30% will be left wild as it is here. And so there I'm just asking Derick to move a little bit closer with the drone to get in there, and you two little buggers get out of the way. And there you see it. Now all of these trees that you see here are still very much alive. We planted them about 6 months ago, 8 months ago. They've never ever been irrigated by man. They receive all of their water from dew, and that is because of the stone mulching. That's what's keeping them alive. The stone mulching has various other benefits. It doesn't just make catch up the evaporated condensated water or condensed water, it also prevents it from evaporating. At the same time, it also helps to feed the plants, because you will find many little critters moving in there, mice and sometimes snakes and spiders and whatnot. And if they eat anything anywhere else, they will come and poop it out there, thereby adding to the nitrogen in the soil. Another benefit that you get with the stone mulching is that it makes a cloud of condensation, or a cloud of humid air. And in the mornings when the birds start singing, plants open up their stomata when they hear bird song, and then for about 20 minutes, and then in those 20 minutes the tree will literally be able to sip on this this little bit of water that's lying on its leaves. Now, through these trees we discovered about 30 or 40 plants that we didn't plant them. They are soft fruits, they are pear trees for the most part. We don't know who planted them. We've been on the farm for 10 years, and this farm hasn't been used for something like 30 years. 30 years ago they removed all the topsoil from here. So these guys have been looking after themselves for quite a while now. And we just opened up a path to them, so that we can start getting them back into production, to see what what are some of the benefits. Can we get them to make some fruit again? And one of them I stone mulch, and that one is actually carrying pears this year. You'll see there the road that's on the right hand side of our farm, and it's the right hand edge towards the east. So what we are going to do here is that's going to become part of the safety fencing, or the secure scaping. I later on opened up another path that you see here. You don't see it actually on the video because it was done after the video was filmed, but it goes up here on the left hand side of these trees, basically between the interface that you get between the rhino bushes on the left and the trees on the right hand side. I opened up a meandering little path all the way up there, just so we could get higher up on the farm. We were about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way up the farm's length. In time, all of this, with the exception of those 30%, will be turned into productive orchids, and we are also going to try and aim for at least 15 or 20% of the farm that's going to be left as water harvesting mechanisms. So we're going to build a lot of dams. There you can see on the bottom towards your right hand side the road that I just showed you. And this is from Field Margin, which is an app that I use. The meandering line that you saw going up there, that is the path that we just walked.